The biggest mistake most analysts do is not working on the wrong analytical tools or weakness in the analytical tools, but they actually analyze the wrong problem. You can build an excellent dashboard and do a professional analysis, but at the end, it can be useless. In this video, we will learn how to know the root cause of the problem. Identifying the root cause of the problem is half the solution. If you are interested in understanding business analytics and develop your analytical thinking, this is the right course for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get the coming lessons. And if you like this video, support it with a like and share to reach to the people who need the same content. Hi everybody, in this lesson, we will learn how to ask the 5 whys to know the real business problem. Understanding the business problem. This is something which is very important, and this will lead to a professional analysis, and it will make you stand out of other analysts. Lesson objective is to understand the real problem before the analysis, how to communicate with the stakeholders in the right way, how to use the 5 whys techniques to understand the real cause of the problem, and to avoid analyzing the non-important problems. The analyst mindset. The mindset is a big difference between a beginner or a weak analyst and a professional analyst. A beginner analyst, when he solves a problem, he will ask, what is the data? But a professional analyst will stop and take time to answer that question. What is the real problem? To understand that, we need to understand the iceberg principle. The first question by the stakeholder is not usually the real problem. It's like an iceberg. The stakeholder question is a superficial request. You need to deep dive to go inside the root problem, and you need to ask the right questions in the right way to figure out the real cause or the root cause of the problem. Because without knowing that root cause, you will keep solving the incorrect problem. If your manager says to you, show me a report of all sales, you have to ask some important questions. What is behind this request? Are sales down? Does he need to compare franchise sales? Is there a sales team problem? Is it related to a pricing decision? It could be the same request, but totally different goals. And for each goal, you will need to follow a specific pathway in your analysis. That's why it's very important to ask yourself, what could be behind this request? Never take the question as it is. Instead, ask why this question was asked. What is the reason the stakeholder asked this question? Let's have an example. If a stakeholder asked you to show him the sales report, the analyst should ask, what is the required decision? Is there a specific problem? All of these questions will pave way to understand the real problem. And there is a very important technique that will help you to understand the root cause. The 5 whys technique. Keep asking why until you get the root cause. For every answer you get, ask another why to understand why this problem happened, until you reach to an answer that has no answer after it. When you get this last answer, this will be the root cause of the problem. It is not necessarily 5 whys, but it always takes 5 why questions to reach to the root cause. You may need less or more. An example, the sales are down. You will need to ask why sales are down. The answer could be because number of orders has decreased. Then ask why number of orders decreased. The answer could be because conversion rate has dropped. Then ask why conversion rate is reduced. The answer could be because the website became slower. Then ask why the website becomes slower. The answer could be because of a technical issue. Then ask why there is a technical issue. The answer could be a website was not tested before publishing. If you take the problem as it is, a problem in sales drop. And then you go directly to use analytical tool to understand why the sales are down. You can use professional analytical tools and generate a highly professional dashboard, but it is not efficient because you didn't give yourself enough time to understand the root cause. Can you imagine that the problem in sales was actually not a problem in the sales itself, not a problem related to the products, not a problem related to the sales team or the support? It's actually related to a technical issue of the website, which is the website wasn't tested before publishing. Simply by solving this problem, the problem will be solved. To become a professional analyst, you need to understand the difference between the symptoms and the root cause. For example, the symptoms: sales are down or churn rate has increased. These are not the problem. These are the symptoms of the problem. Understanding the root cause will help you get the right solution for the problem. The root cause may be due to low website speed or weak customer support. So you have to focus to solve these real causes rather than solving the symptoms. For example, if you intend to solve the symptoms and you didn't give yourself a time to understand the root cause, you may recommend to generate some offers to make some discounts, but this is not the problem. This is not a solution because that wasn't the problem. The solution in that case, when you understand the root cause and you find out that the root cause was a low website speed, so you have to focus your solution to solve the problem of the website speed. If it is weak customer support, you have to focus on giving the customer support team more training to understand where is the problem, where is the exact problem in the customer support. And in that case, you are solving the real problem and understanding the root cause also, which will lead to recovery of the sales. Understanding the root cause will also be helpful in providing the right insights and the right recommendations to make the right decision. It's very important to understand the root cause rather than working on the symptoms, regardless of the time you will take to understand the root cause. That may take long time, but it's really helpful to know the root cause to help you provide the right recommendations for the correct decision. One other thing you need to understand to be a professional analyst is the stakeholder mapping. Not all stakeholders have the same goal. You have to understand the stakeholders that you are working with. Who will benefit from the decision? Who will resist? Who will make the decision? An example: low cost analysis. We need to lower the cost of the company and we have to provide recommendations for lowering the cost. The finance team will support lowering the cost because the finance team will benefit from lowering the cost, while the operations team will resist. It is not just a resistance, but because they will see that lowering the cost may affect the performance. You may recommend for lowering the cost to reduce the hourly rate for the workers, for the employees. The operation team will resist because that may affect the performance of the operations. While the finance team will be happy about that because they will use a lower budget. While the CEO will usually need a balance. The CEO will need to lower the cost without affecting the performance. Remember that in business analytics, you are not working only with data. You are working with data, with people, and with decisions. So you have to give everything its weight. So you will provide the correct recommendations. And never neglect any of these three. Then what are the common mistakes that any analyst can do? A common mistake is solving the wrong problem efficiently. You can do your best, work on professional analytical tools, provide professional reports, professional visualization, and a very professional dashboard. But all of that will build on solving the symptoms, not the right cause. So you are solving the wrong problem, which means all your efficient work will not lead to solving the problem. It may lead to wrong recommendations, which will cause the stakeholder to make the inefficient decisions. And actually, that will affect your reputation as a business analyst. Another common mistake is proposing instead of asking. When you are asked to solve a problem, you have to ask. and we will learn how to ask the correct question. For example, if you are asked to find a solution to increase the sales, to increase the profit, don't propose that sales are down because, for example, the products are very expensive or there is a problem with the support team. Don't propose. You have to ask. Ask the 5 whys and ask the common questions that we will learn in this video. That's why proposing is one of the common mistakes. Usually ask. If you are in doubt, usually ask. Another common mistake is building useless dashboard. Useless doesn't mean that it's not professional dashboard. It can be professional, but is actually useless in making the right decision, in providing the correct recommendations. If a manager says, I need a report of all sales, here is the difference between a beginner or a weak analyst and a professional analyst behavior. The beginner or a weak analyst will directly apply the tool, will ask where is the data and start applying the tools. Will build a dashboard that may be very professional but without understanding the real problem. While a professional analyst will ask the stakeholder some question to help him understand the root cause. He will ask the stakeholder, what are the decisions this decision will help you to make? Are you thinking of lowering the price, for example? Are you thinking of training the support team? Are you thinking of improving the quality of the raw materials? Are you thinking of increasing the employees' salary? So you can also ask the stakeholder, are you worried about something? Is there any specific thing you are worried about? Ask, what is a different thing you will do if you get the answer? When you ask all of these questions to the stakeholder, that will pave way to identify the real problem. Don't hesitate to ask. In the data analytics world, you need to interview the stakeholders. And before to interview the stakeholders, you need to understand their personality, their positions, who will resist, who will benefit, who will need a balance, to know who you will ask which questions. Depending on that, stakeholder interview questions could be what we just said. What are the decisions this decision will help you to make? Are you worried of something? What is a different thing you will do if you get the answer? All of that will help you to identify the real cause. And actually, this will take time, but it's very important. This is not a wasted time. Business case study. You have a problem and you need to solve as a business analyst. The users are inactive. You need to ask who? Which users? The new users or all users? What? Are they active users? Are you mean daily subscription, daily activity, or weekly activity? When? When actually this inactivity starts? In the last month, for example, in the last 3 months, in the last year, when exactly this inactivity appear? Where are those inactive users? Are on the platform, on the mobile app, or the web? Why? Why the user are inactive? Are they inactive from the beginning or they face an onboarding problem? And if you remember in the last video, we learned how to frame a problem to answer these 5 questions. All of these together, beside asking the 5 whys and asking the right question while interviewing the stakeholders, all of that together will help you identify the root cause. And this actually, again, will take time, but you are not wasting time because the golden rule is identifying the problem is half the solution. If you correctly identify the root cause, it will pave way to the correct and efficient analysis. To wrap up what we have today we learned how to discover the root cause. Not everything you hear from the stakeholder is the problem. It may be this is the symptoms of the problem. The problem usually follows the iceberg principle. What you see is a very small proportion of the root cause, because this is the symptoms. You have to go deep to understand the root cause, because identifying the problem and knowing the root cause is half a solution. Many things will help you to identify the root cause and the real problem. The 5 why strategy: to keep asking why until you get an answer that there is no answer after it. Every time you get an answer to one why, ask why. Why this answer? Until you get an answer that has no answer after it. Usually, this will be the problem. This will be the root cause. Frame your problem in a context that answers the 5 questions: what, who, when, where, and why. Plan to interview the stakeholders. Don't take the question as it is. Don't propose, but ask. All of that will help you to identify the root cause and will make you stand out of other analysts, because this will help you provide the professional analysis that will lead to the correct insights and will give the good recommendations for a better decision. And that's all for today. But before you go, imagine one business problem and ask yourself, how could you identify the real problem and the root cause of that business problem, and share it with us in the comments down below.